So this is the first of these meetings that I'm doing with my lovely friend, Angi Scott. And Lucy, there's two purposes of this really. Number one is for me to help me get the most out of my experience in the Ankush's AJC Career Coaching School, and then to share that as part of my journey. But it's an opportunity to connect with some friends and some people who are new friends. And Angie's a fairly new friend, although I feel like I've known her for years now. And just talk about things for the next 20 minutes till 30 minutes. So that's the end of me talking to you as if you're not there, Angie. Hello. How are you?
I'm very
So
well.
we're going to kick off. I think Angie's going to read us a bit of a bio, and that's how we're going to start. And then really it's just me and you, and everybody else is listening in. So that's good. Shoot.
Well, we were just talking about this before the recording. So my bio's quite long that I wrote for the school. So I'm gonna start kind of in the middle a little bit.
Cool, thank you.
So by the time I was in my early 20s, I knew I wanted to serve others. I thought the way to serve powerfully was to get a psychology degree and set up my own practice. I'd left school without qualifications, and I had to study for extra years doing foundations before taking my Bachelor of Science. I passed in 1999. By then, my goals had changed. I decided I wanted to work in an area where I could really make a difference. Instead of opening a practice, which was my initial plan, I took a job working for a company. My clients had a background of hardship, homelessness, violence, substance abuse, etc. And I knew I was going to make a difference, but I didn't. It worked to a point. Some clients had results, but the process-driven approaches were not impactful or life-changing, not in a way I was expecting. I wanted to really help these people, so I began to read books on coaching, mentoring, counseling, goal setting, and anything I could get my hands on. One day, I found a book that changed everything for me. It confirmed things I already felt I knew, but to my knowledge, no one was talking about it. It was 2001, and I came across a book called The Enlightened Gardener by Sydney Banks. I then spent 10 years using the 3 principles before the 3P movement began to happen. I certainly hadn't heard of the term, and I didn't know the names of those, such as Elsie Spittle, Jack Pansy, etc., and others that led the way. In 2013, due to circumstances, I closed down my last one-to-one client and moved from South England to North Wales. I focused for a few years on sports coaching and qualified as a CrossFit coach and a weightlifting coach. In 2019, I began to build my first private coaching practice, which I intended to integrate into my health and fitness coaching. Lockdown changed my plans, and my life became focused on rescuing a rundown hotel and building several businesses with my partner, Matt. In March last year, once again, my life changed when Matt and I attended the Ultimate Experience in London. With our businesses by this time running smoothly, I know it was time to go back to my roots, set up my coaching practice, thus leading me to become a student of the AJC Coaching Career School Year 1. So that's my bio for the school.
That's brilliant. That's amazing stuff in there. I didn't know. I didn't know about 2001 and The Enlightened Gardener. I love that book. It's brilliant. So I created 5 questions that were kind of interest to me, and I thought could make good discussion points. And the first one of which was, how did you get to the point of I'm in? I know I want to do this. What was going on for you at the time? Can you remember?
Yeah, I can. So I knew at that point my coaching practice was what I wanted to do. It had been a goal for a long time. And when I looked out into the world at who was already doing and being in the world the way I wanted to be, it was Ankush stood out above everybody else.
Was this at the London event? Is that when you say at that time? Is that when it was?
In kind of the weeks that followed. So we're sort of maybe April, May at this time. And I reached out to Ankush and he didn't say a lot back to me, so I reached out to him again, and he said, well, I'm full. So I'd said, well, I made it clear that kind of whatever was needed, I wanted to work with him, whether that was a waiting list or how I create that as a possibility. And he said, well, I have got this school coming up. He hadn't put anything out at that point. He said, let's have a chat and we'll see if you're a fit for the school. So at that point, when Ankush spoke to me about the school, it sounded exactly what I needed to build my coaching practice, because I didn't know how to build a practice. I'd only ever worked with authority referrals in the past.
Yeah.
So for me, it sounded like everything I needed. And you can see from what Ankush is doing that he's doing what nobody else is doing within the coaching industry and serving to such a high level. So it was easy. It was an easy yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love the fact that, I mean, what I hear in that is you were creating it, weren't you? And you're sort of, pursuing him on Messenger or whatever. And then,
I probably exaggerated just a little bit, but he initially, his words for me were, well, actually, yeah, I'm just full.
Yeah. That's incredible, isn't it?
He was certainly went out of his way to kind of send me some information and see what was possible.
Yeah. That's what I thought these conversations would just be so rich, because there's, like, even if we just hit pause or stop there, there's so much in what you just said there that I can reflect on, and people listening can go back and hear it about themselves and hear what's going on in all of that. So that's brilliant. Amazing. So what are you most proud of achieving throughout the school?
Oh, do you know what? That's a really interesting question, because I think an entire afternoon was dedicated to neutrality on achievements.
Oh, wow.
So really kind of looking at the point that if we celebrate our successes, that leads us to kind of feel, oh, well, I failed. And when we put that level of neutrality on it, if everything just is and everything is right and everything is perfect and just how it is, it almost takes that element out of the pride. So we don't have to experience the other. Everything is just perfect.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I say, I don't hear pride like that, which is so intriguing. Like, that's amazing. I hadn't really thought of it like that, but I love that. Perhaps I should have changed the word from pride to, I don't know, or celebration or something. So I can completely see that.
We were having neutral celebrations. So
yeah.
Created that afternoon, I think we created the neutral dance.
I love that. Neutral celebrations and neutral dance. Yeah. But it's interesting. I suppose the question's interesting in what it draws out. Like, so that was obviously incredibly impactful for you to see the neutrality of things that work, things that don't work.
Yeah, I think taking the question a little bit more literally, though.
Thank you.
It's been really, really great to kind of learn that our practice doesn't grow from growing a practice. Our practice grows from conversation. It grows from service. It grows from who we're being and who we are as a person. And the stuff about the finances and how to create a business, that's all good to know, but it's not where the power has been for me. The power has been the power of serving from a place of pure service, and that almost, how do we serve deeper? How do we love more? How do we give more? It's not, how do I get clients?
I love that. You're brilliant. You're so brilliant. Amazing. Sorry, I've got like Cheshire Cat moment where when I first had this idea, I thought this is going to be really useful for me. And then I thought a lot of people are going to want to hear this, right? Because it's one thing having people in a school and people saying, oh, this is amazing. But hearing this kind of stuff from the inside, like the kind of the bird's eye view, or no, it's the wrong word, isn't it? I don't know what the word is, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to help so many people. And what you said then, it's not about building a practice. It's about service, and most importantly, it's about who you're being. I love that. That's the coolest thing ever. Thank you. That's brilliant.
And seeing what's possible.
Yeah, yes, yes. Wonderful. What's changed that you never would have expected to change?
I think that more than anything, I think going back to those very first sessions, I walked into that room with world-class coaches. And in that first morning, I knew that I had no business being in that room. And I thought, what am I doing? Why am I even here? I'm not where they are. I'm not who they are. And very quickly, they began to show me why I was exactly where I was meant to be, and that I am that as well. And that was something that I just couldn't see. I saw myself as, yeah, I'd had coaching experience, but I wasn't this a world-class coach like these people that I'm in this room with. I'm not their kind of level. And just realizing over the 6 months that it's not a title, it's a state of being that takes us to that level.
I love that. So what, I mean, was there like an apocryphal moment where you kind of went, oh heck, I'm a world-class coach in my being?
I just slowly shifted away from my own insecurities to, wow, what's possible? What's possible now? What's possible next?
Wow.
And it was just kind of a flow of, I was completely broken that first weekend. I come home and I just felt like a lead weight for days as I'm processing this, and all this stuff's coming out of me of this, well, am I good enough to do this? And once I'd got through that, and I'm in that space of creation for my clients, it just looks completely different. Who I'm being is completely different. What I'm creating in the world is different. And it was just the magic of the school and being in that environment and that atmosphere, and writing the notes. And I've got permission from Ankush to do all of my notes from all of the school.
Wow.
Which is going to be, it's not going to be a little PDF file. It's going to be a short book, because it's that much information. But the power is not in that. It's not in anything. That's powerful. It's gold that we write down. But the real power is being in the energy of those people in that room, and that switch inside of what's possible. That's the magic.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. That's just amazing. I love that you're going to make a sort of, yeah, like a mini book out of it. It's like an afterglow, isn't it, that you can share?
It's just realized that from even just the PDF file that I've created, that it's just an incredible resource for anyone. There's so much kind of gold we can take out of and apply to what we're doing.
I'm on my 4th reading of that, by the way.
That's good to know.
Oh no, seriously, I am. It's like, it's so interesting reading it, because I often do this. I'll read something through and I get a sort of a sense of it, you know, a flavor of what's going on. And then as I'm going through, things stick out and I think, okay, I want to go back to that. I want to go back to that. I want to go back to that. And I think when I messaged you about doing this, I said, I've got a bunch of questions. I've got a lot more questions, because it, you know, and then some of the questions get answered when you read back through again. So it's, that process is incredible. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. That's amazing. So the next question was, how has the school impacted your business, your coaching practice?
I started the school back in September. I didn't have any clients, and although I had 8 clients at the beginning of January, I've had 5 renewals. And so for me, it's still very early days, and just realizing it does take time to build.
Yeah.
But the right people are on my bus.
I love that. I love that. Was that your phrase or is that a Kush phrase?
That's an Ankush.
I like that. That really made me giggle. I never thought about it like that. That's fantastic. Yeah, I took that one straight to heart actually, and utilized that intriguingly. That one really, yeah, that really hit the spot. Somebody wanted to be on my bus and I wouldn't let them on.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave them stuff. You know, I didn't like throw them off as it was moving off or anything like that. I gave them and said, look, I think a good idea before you try and get on this bus is if you do these things. I think that would help you get more out of being on the bus. You know, so yeah, it wasn't totally callous, but it was interesting. It fascinates me, like when these things resonate energetically, they just drop into your being, don't they? And you just start to have utility out of them instantly. They just become part of how you function. Yeah, amazing. And then the final question was, if you were to do it again, which I think I'm right in saying you are doing it again,
Certainly am.
what would you do differently?
I don't know if I'd do anything differently. I'd be starting from a different place.
Yeah.
Instead of beginning my journey without a coaching practice.
Yeah.
I'll be beginning my journey maybe by September with a full coaching practice as I keep applying what I've kind of learned. But like you said about reading back through the notes, and as we know, we read through Steve Hardison's book, and every time we read it, you know, somebody's gone back and they've erased the first copy and put a completely new copy in there. It's never the same the second time through. So we always receive that information completely fresh because we've never been who we are today.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was chatting with somebody earlier, well, before this actually, and she's been a friend for, since about 2010, I would say. And I was saying, I think I'm on my 9th reading or listening of The Ultimate Coach. Might be 10th, I can't. Oh, actually, no, it's more than that because I'd forgotten the first 2 when I got it on Kindle last year when I didn't understand it. I was reading it as a bio of Steve Hardison. So I must be on my 12th or 13th now, I would say. And each time I read it, I can remember less. So it's fresher every time I go back and read it. So the first few times I kind of remember things, oh yeah, it's that story, whatever. Each time I hear it now, it's like I've never heard it before. Quite amazing. And I guess different this time, would you say you'll have a sense of being able to look at who you're being as you go into it, which maybe wasn't there first time around.
And that learning that I have taken away of always looking at what's possible, what else is possible, what else is possible. That's
a beautiful phrase, isn't it? What's possible, what else is possible. Amazing. Thanks, Angie. People who've enjoyed listening to you, how can they reach out to you? How can they get in touch?
Very, very easiest way to reach me is always Facebook Messenger. So through Angi Scott on Facebook. I do have a website which is very much in need of an update, but it is there nevertheless, which is www.angiscott.co.uk.
Cool.
And it's a website, I think updating it falls really to the background of the service and just doing, but it is there and you can contact me via that with my email.
And if people want to kind of like advance notifications of when all of your notes are ready, if they drop you a message on Messenger, is that best?
Yeah, they can certainly let me know that they would like that booklet when it's done. And just like I did with the PDF, I'll be dropping a post into Facebook and people can tag themselves and tag people who they think it would be relevant for, and make a commitment and get that out.
Brilliant. Thanks, Angie. That's amazing. Before I draw this to a close, I just want to say, for those people who don't know the story, Angie was pivotal. She was my push out of the plane, I would say, to get me to Mumbai. Most of me wanted to go, but there was some reluctance. And it's fair to say that when Angi acted in service to me in that way, we didn't know each other at all. We'd known each other for 30 minutes on a Zoom call before she, well, I think as she politely put it at the time, I'm going to mess with your head. And she did, and it was one of the best messings I've ever received. So thank you for who you are for me. You are true service and pure love. So thanks, Angi. Amazing.
Thank you.